Your camera is guessing, and most of the times it's right. Think about the last time you took a photo or filmed a video. You hit a button and in a fraction of a second, the lens shifted. The image snapped into clarity, and a little green box locked onto your subject's eye. It feels like the camera is reading your mind. It feels like it knows exactly what you're looking at. But your camera has no idea who your friend is. It doesn't know why that flower is beautiful, and it certainly doesn't know what art is. It is just a very fast calculator playing a game of hot or cold with millions of pixels. Today, we're looking at the invisible math that keeps the world in focus. Hey everyone, welcome back to the South Area Network, and this is Tech Talks with Husnain. Today, we're stepping away from the software side of things to look at the incredible hardware in your hands. Whether you're a professional creator or just someone who loves taking photos on vacation, understanding how autofocus actually works will change the way you shoot forever. To understand how far we've come, we have to look at the old ways, sometimes called the contrast detection. This is the simplest type of autofocus, and it is likely what your very first digital camera or old smartphone used to have. Here is how the camera thinks during contrast detection. It looks at specific areas of the image and asks, is this sharp? But a camera doesn't know what sharp looks like. It only knows what contrast looks like. Imagine a black line on a white piece of paper. If the image is out of focus, the line looks really blurry or gray smudge. There is no clear border between the black and the white. As the camera moves the lens, it watches the edge of that line. When the black is at its darkest and the white is at its brightest right next to each other, that is the point of maximum contrast. The camera literally hunts back and forth. It moves the lens until the contrast gets higher and keeps going until it starts to get lower again, and then snap backs into the middle. This is why older cameras always breathe or wobble before they lock onto focus. They are playing a game of hot and cold until they find the peak. But the hunting was too slow for modern video or sports photography. That's where face detection comes in. This is the technology that makes modern mirrorless cameras feel like they're reading your mind. Instead of just looking at contrast, the sensor splits the incoming light into two separate images. It's a lot like how your own two eyes work to give depth perception. If the two images don't line up perfectly, the camera is out of phase. But here is the genius part. Unlike contrast detection, which has to guess which way to move the lens, phase detection knows exactly how far off it is and in which direction. It doesn't need to hunt. It tells the lens motor, move 2.3 millimeters to the left immediately. All of this happens in milliseconds. It's the difference between a car driver searching for a parking spot and a professional athlete reacting to a ball. It is decisive, it is instant, and it is why now you can track a bird flying at 40 miles per hour without missing a single frame. So the camera can move the lens quickly, but how does it know where to look? This is where we move from physics into artificial intelligence. Modern cameras are now loaded with neural processing units. Engineers have fed millions of images into these cameras to teach them what things look like. This is subject detection. When you point your camera at a person, the AI recognizes the shape of a human head. Then it looks for a face, and then it looks for a specific eye. It's not seeing your friend, it's just identifying mathematical patterns that it has been told it is a human eye. In 2026, this has gone even further. High-end modern cameras now have specific modes to check for animals, recognizing eyes of cats, dogs, and birds. They can also look for vehicle locking onto helmets of Formula 1 drivers or cockpits of airplanes. Moreover, they can also find insects, the head of a bee moving on a flower. Here, the camera isn't choosing on what to focus on because it just likes the subject. It is just prioritizing the pattern you told it to look for in the settings. But if cameras now are so smart, why do we still sometimes get blurry shots? Usually, it's because the camera's logic has been tricked. Let's take an example, the fence problem. If you're trying to take a photo of a lion at a zoo through a chain link fence, the camera sees the fence as a high contrast, easy to identify pattern. It thinks you want the fence. It has no context that the line is the most important part. Let's move further and talk about low light scenarios. Remember, cameras need light to see contrast or phase. In the dark, the signals get noisy. The camera can't tell the difference between a sharp edge and a digital grain. Let's take another step forward. Have you sometimes tried focusing on a plain white wall or a clear blue sky? There are no edges to that for the camera to measure. And without an edge, the math will fail. This is the current gap in the autofocus technology. The camera is a genius at measuring, but it is an idiot at understanding. My camera is looking at me and I know it's not happy about me making that comment, but well, it's true. It doesn't know that the person in the background is the one crying at the wedding, hence the most important in your shot. It simply sees the person in the foreground because they are larger and easier to track. This is exactly why manual focus still exists. In Hollywood and high-end cinematography, they often don't use autofocus at all. They use a person called a focus puller. Why? Because focus is a storytelling tool. Sometimes you want to start focused on a glass of water and then rack the focus onto the person walking through the door. A camera's AI would struggle with this. It would see the person and immediately snap onto them, ruining the slow, dramatic reveal. Manual focus therefore allows for intent. It allows the creator to say, I know the AI want to look at this bright object, but I want the viewer to look at this dark shadow first. As of now, no algorithm in the world can replicate human emotion or narrative timing. However, as we move forward, the line between taking a photo and computing a photo is disappearing. We are seeing the rise of LiDAR, light detection and ranging. In high-end phones and some cameras, instead of relying on light, the camera shoots out thousands of invisible laser pulses to build a 3D map of the room. It knows exactly how many meters away every object is, even in pitch black darkness. We are also seeing post-focus technology, where a camera captures multiple focus points at once, allowing you to choose what's in focus after you've already taken the shot. The key takeaway for you from all of this is that your camera is a powerful tool, but it is also a blind one. It is a world-class guesser. When you understand it is looking for contrast and patterns, you can help it. If it's struggling, you find a high contrast edge to focus on. If it's tracking the wrong person, you adjust the subject priority. Technology has made it so that we almost never have to think about how to focus, which allows us to spend all our energy on what to focus on. The camera will handle the math, but you have to handle the meaning. That's how you go from being someone who just takes picture to someone who actually tells stories. So, do you trust your camera's autofocus, or are you a manual focus purist? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this look at the hardware that makes our videos possible, hit that like button and also subscribe to South Arab Network for more tech talks with Husnain. As always, thank you so much for watching the content, and I will see you in the next one.